welcome to this class. Now, this class is the topic we are dealing with is variance analysis. Now, variance analysis. Variance analysis. Now, I need to first sound this warning on variance analysis. That for variance analysis is a topic that most students dread a lot. They believe that it's difficult. But what I will advise is that you should just pay attention to whatever we are discussing about this variance analysis and have an open mind that this variance analysis, you will get it. The approach we are going to use here is an approach that will help us to appreciate the meaning of variance analysis and how to go about computing the variance analysis. But note that all what we are doing here, they are not exhaustive. I mean, there are other information that you can still look through in your literature. But this will at least be a starting point. I mean, it will really help us to understanding the rudiments of variance analysis. That, having said that, let's look at what variance analysis is talking about. Now, all of the topics that we have been discussing under this performance management, they are basically meant to do three things. I mean, some of them are centered around planning. Example is budgeting. While some of them are centered around decision making. Example of topic of that is what is cost volume profit analysis or divisional performance. Now, evaluations. The third aspect of the usage of all these topics is for control. Now, variance analysis is a topic that looks into how we put a control on cost in an organization. Let me put it this way. In a manufacturing environment, basically we focus more on manufacturing environment. In a manufacturing environment, the concern of every manager is that at any point in time, they need to reduce their cost. Now, the cost in respect of the material they are using, the cost in respect of reduce the cost in respect of the labor they are paying for, and the variable overhead incurred and the fixed overhead absorbed. We want to see how do we control this cost in such a way that this cost will not go out of control. So the variance analysis will now help us. So what now help the manager to now be able to put a tab on those costs in such a way that you'll be able to know when those costs are getting out of hand so that you can quickly take a corrective measure. Now, having explained that, what is now the variance analysis? It's all about how organization sets a standard and comparing that standard they set with the actual cost they incurred. Now, looking at that differences between the two, they're now analyzing why do we have this difference so that they can take an appropriate measures to control that difference. Now, what I'm saying in essence is that if an organization, let's say a manufacturing organizations that intend to use variance analysis, now that organization, what will it do? It will set a standard for all its costs. There will be a standard set. When I say they set a standard, it means that organization will bring up what is the amount of cost that they are going to incur on their material. Say for instance, how much of their material they are going to the cost they are going to spend on their materials per every product they are producing. They will set that standard before they even start the production. If that standard is set, it means that if standard is set as to material, as to labor, as to variable overhead, as to fixed overhead. Fixed overhead. This is an hypothetical example, please, just to simplify it. Now, for the material, if the organization have in mind that, okay, any product we are producing, we will be incurring 2 naira on for producing each of the products. We're incurring 2 naira on material. So it means that if you want to produce your product, you have to spend 2 naira on each of the products, 2 naira on material on each of the products. For labor, you are going to spend, you have a standard that you said that 1 naira should be paid to laborer for producing each of your products. Also, variable overhead you are going to incur is 3 naira per hour per each of the products. You are going to spend 3 naira on variable overhead to producing just a product of yours. Also, you also set it that for the fixed overhead, you are going to incur how much? Incur 2 naira to produce each of the products. Now look at it. These are the standard sets. And these standards are what they have in mind that even when we start production, what should be incurred should not be different from this. Now, in reality, when they now start the actual production, you will now realize that all these costs they are set, which is their standard, will be different from what they actually incur. Let's say, for instance, in the actual productions, in reality, when they now start the production, they now realize that for the materials, they incurred what? They incurred, let's say for instance, they incurred 3 naira on material. For labor, they incur 2 naira on labor. And for variable overhead, they incur maybe 1 naira on variable overhead per unit of the product, while the actual cost incurred on fixed overhead is 1 naira per fixed overhead. Can you now see that this happens to be the standard, and this is what? And this is the actual cost incurred. Now, we can now see what's the difference between this standard and actual cost. You can see that in a nutshell, if for material they incur, if for material they set 2 naira and they incurred what? They incurred 3 naira. That simply means that they are actually incurring cost on material more than what they set. 3 minus 2, that means that they are incurring 1 naira above what they set to incur on what? On material. What's the meaning of that? It simply means that what? There is an adverse variance here. This is a variance now. This is a variance now. The variance between what is set to incur and what they actually incur. Is this variance, is it favorable or adverse? It is adverse. Why? Because what they incur is more than what is set. So you can say adverse. Now, for the labor, they set to incur 1 naira. But they incur more than 1 naira. That's 2 naira they incurred. That's also 2 minus 1 is 1. That's also what? Adverse. Now, for the variable overhead, they set to incur 3 naira, but they incur eventually 1 naira. That is what? 2 naira is what is favorable because they are incurring costs less than what they set to incur. And the last one here is what? Is 2 naira. They set on fixed overhead, and the actual is what? Is 1 naira. That means that they're having a what? 1 naira favorable. Now, you can see that these are the what? The variances. So the focus of variance analysis is that what? We are actually looking at a situation where we are what? We set a standard and we now compare the standard with the actual cost incurred for the period to see the variance. Now, look at this variance now. This variance now you can now see. You can now see why do we have this negative variance, adverse variance? Why? Why do we have this adverse variance? So that we can now take a control measures in the future so that this adverse will not come up again. That's just what we mean by variance analysis. It is for control measures. Now, having established this background, then I can now go into some theory to explain what is variance. Let us start with what is standard, please. Now, if you say what is standard, let us start by saying standard. Standard, I've explained that is what you pre-established before the production. When is a standard? From what I have here, a standard is a unit cost prepared in advance. A standard is a unit cost prepared in advance based on expected resource usage. Based on expected resource usage. Now look at it. It means that when we say what's our standard, a standard is a unit cost prepared in advance. Please note the key word there. Unit cost. It means that when they say we are setting a standard, it is an amount, a setting that is relating to what a unit of our product. That per one of that product we are producing, how much is the cost we set to incur? That is what we mean by a standard. And it is always pre-established before the actual actual productions. So that is that. So a standard is a unit cost prepared in advance. It means that you have to prepare this cost estimate in advance, and it must be based on what? On expected what? Resource usage. It means that it must be based on the amount of resources we're expecting to use for that period. It means that standard we are setting should be based on the what? On the expected resources that we are looking at using. So what we need to know about the standard is that it is a what? It is a unit cost that is what prepared in advance, based on what? On the resource usage. That is that. Now, when we are preparing a standard can be prepared on different bases. Now let's look at the standard can be prepared on several bases. Let's look at the basis of preparing standard. Or we can say type of standard. Now, standard can be prepared on different bases. Let's look at the different bases of preparing a standard. Now, if you are preparing a standard, what are the bases of preparing it? The first one is what? Is basic standard. Basic standard. Now, if you are preparing a standard, some basic standard, what's the meaning? This is a long-run standard for situations that do not change significantly. It is a what? It is a long-run standard for situations that do not change significantly. It means that if we establish a standard, and that standard is for what? Is for situation that we don't expect that situation to change well in the foreseeable future. That kind of standard you present or we prepare is said to be a basic standard. It means that a basic standard is enduring. Is what is going to take time for it to change. It means that is if it is going to change. That's a basic standard. If you set a standard in that nature, you say you have a what? A basic standard. The next one is what? Is ideal standard. Ideal standard. Now, when you are setting a standard and you are looking at 100% efficiency, that this standard you are setting, you are expecting that it is what? It is assuming 100% efficiency, that if the workers are working at their top performer, if the resource usage is what? 100% utilized and there is no wastages, if that kind of standard you set is said to be what? Is ideal standard. Please note, and this standard is always what? Is always frustrating, because organizations or managers who tend to want to have that ideal standard in place, it can frustrate them. But if they don't achieve that standard, then there can be a what? There can be a frustration, and it can demoralize the manager. So this simply means that this assumes 100% efficiency, assumes 100% efficiency, no wastages, and ideal performance. No wastages, and there is what? And there is ideal performance. Now, the third basis of preparing a standard, of having a standard, the standard you set, what's the another basis is what? Is attainable standard. Attainable standard. Attainable standard is a standard in the sense that it's a standard that you set. This is based on realistic targets. It is different from that idea. Idea is not giving a room for inefficiency at all. 100% efficiency. But attainable standard is what? Is less than 100% efficiency, because it gives allowance for what? For a little bit of inefficiency, or allowance that will make what? The manager to be able to relax a bit and not just looking at achieving the standard 100%. So attainable standard can be said this is based on realistic target for performance. This is based on realistic target of performance. This is based on realistic target of performance. They are good for control as they provide motivations. Note, I told you the other one are not good as I did, but this is good. They are good. They are good for control. They are good for control. And what? As they provide motivations. As they provide motivation to the worker, also the manager. Please note that that is a attainable standard. That is good for the what? For the organization. Now, the fourth basis is what? Is current standard. Current standard. Now, when we say current standard, what do you mean by current standard? Now, this is based on recent operating experience. This is a standard. Is a standard that is based on current operating experience. That is based on current operating experience. Means that any standard prepared by taking cognizance of the current operating experience is said to what is happening presently. And you have a standard prepared on that basis. That is a current standard. So we have been able to what? Give a clue to what we are actually talking about when we say standard and variance analysis. And we talked about what is standard and the basis of standard. So in the next video session, we'll be looking at other areas of this variance analysis. Thank you for listening. We'll see you in the next video session.